So this part of the day, we're talking about securing your business and planning for a disaster, kind of both at the same time. And we're going to primarily look at Windows Small Business Server 2003 in order to help us do that. This is something to really think about. I know we got some kind of funny pictures up there, but if a disaster does hit your business, have you ever thought about how fast you could be back up and running, or how much data you would actually have to recover? What would happen to your IT systems? Would you be able to get your business started again? How long would it take you? And when I'll talk to customers one-on-one, some of them will say, I'm in good shape. I back everything up. I have a DVD with our pertinent information in a safe deposit box, or I take it home with me every day, or I keep it in another location. Some companies have internet backup, so their backup would go over the internet to a company that provides a backup for them. Other people I've talked to kind of gave me the deer in headlights look, like, oh, wow, that's not a good thing. So anyway, that's this part of the day where we're going to look at how to back up your data. We're also going to look at ways to protect yourself from those gremlins in your office that might mess things up when they shouldn't be. So let's start off with the Small Business Server 2003 backup utility. Now, before I go into that, I think it's only fair to discuss what Small Business Server 2003 really is. Scott talked about it a little bit, and I wanted to make sure everybody is on the same page. So Small Business Server 2003 is a suite of server tools designed specifically for small businesses. So like Office has Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Small Business Server 2003 has Windows Server 2003, Exchange Server 2003, and Windows SharePoint services all in one box. And there's a premium edition that adds SQL Server, which is a database tool, and ISA 2000, which is Internet Security and Acceleration Server as well. So there are two different flavors of Small Business Server. And the real benefit of purchasing this in one box is you can install all those parts onto a single server, onto a single machine, and you also save a few dollars over purchasing each one of those products individually. As a matter of fact, you save a lot of money. If you were to purchase them individually, you're anywhere between $2,200 to $4,000. And Small Business Server starts at about $599. So in a nutshell, that's what Small Business Server is. So it is the software that is on our server that is running this company Contoso that I have right over here. Now, Small Business Server has been around for a while, but 2003 is our latest version that has added a lot of tools to make it much easier for those of us who are not necessarily the network administrator who need to perform administrative tasks. How many people here today are the computer experts simply because they know one more thing about computers than everyone else in the office? Just one more thing than anyone else. Exactly. So most of us here today, and that's exactly who our target audience is here. I wanted to show you a couple of tricks, if you have the server in place, that you could probably manage. So what's great is the server management has a little wizard where we can manage users or licenses, etc. Here we can go into backup. So we just click backup. And let's go ahead and configure our backup up. Backup up, yes. So again, it's a wizard that allows us to select how we wanted to approach this. So we could select where this goes. Now again, we would probably put this on an external hard drive or even a tape backup. Tape backups are great for storage, but they are slow as far as retrieving data goes. So they're reliable, but again, it's more of a speed thing. So we'll put it there, decide what we want to back up, and then we can automatically select the schedule. So every day, maybe we just want 2 backups on Fridays. And we'll start it when everyone is out of the office, 11 p.m., and we can tell it how many backups to keep. So 2 or 3 backups is generally good. Then we can decide whether this will be well, first of all, we can decide regarding our Exchange server. Exchange server is where our email and our calendaring system is stored. This is a great little tool. If you have an Exchange server, as opposed to using PST files in Outlook, you can actually tell it to retain deleted emails. If you delete it and then you empty your deleted items folder, you can still get those emails back up to a certain amount of days. So in this case, we're at 30. Hit next and finish. And then this backup server settings are going to be set up and ready to go. So this won't run a backup right now. It will just save my settings. So it's fairly easy to have that set up. It's now a matter of how much hard disk space you have for that backup to actually occur. So now in some cases, in many cases, a smart business will actually have all of their users' folders on the server. So Scott, I'm sure you've set up folder redirection before. Yep. So this is a way of, I don't want to say tricking your employees, but maybe just guiding your employees to put their data onto the server. How many people here have like a Z drive or an H drive for data? Okay. How many people remember to every single time put their data on there? Yeah, that's what I thought. One. One who would admit it. So there's a tool called My Document Redirection, where, as if you have the server in place, you can force all the desktops to automatically move their My Documents to the server, which would, one, allow you to, when you back up your server, to automatically back up their files, and two, use a tool called Volume Shadow Copies, which takes instant snapshots of files, allowing your users to recover individual files whenever they have made a mistake or need to get back to a file. So if I'm a user, I go to File and Save, and I type in a file name, it's automatically going to go onto a server instead of into the My Documents folder on my desktop. Now, if I have a laptop, not a problem. I can set up something called offline files. Offline files allows me to synchronize my documents with my My Documents folder on the server as well. So again, it works for desktop users, it works for laptop users, but regardless, the entire company is better because their data is backed up. Yes?
Does this only synchronize when I detect a change?
Great question. Correct. It would only, if you're using that offline file tool and you're on a laptop, and let's say you're working on the train, you come into the office, you plug it in, what it would do then is it would look, it would see which file is newer, and it would write and synchronize the newer files. So yeah, you're not stuck doing an entire restore backup every single time.
Now, what's the first option?
The first option says redirect all my documents to the default shared folder, and this is to any network folder. So by default, it would be in a folder named after that particular user, but if you wanted to specify a different location, you would go to the second bullet. Right? And that's called My Document Redirection, and that, along with Volume Shadow Copies, I'm sure is probably one of the biggest reasons users tend to like having that server in the place. Medical organizations who are governed by HIPAA, or financial institutions who have to have some sort of backup for their audits, this is absolutely key, and this is a great, inexpensive way to make sure that you are in compliance. We got our backup set up. Now, let's go back and talk about some other stuff regarding a server, regarding having an entire company that is networked together. Now, wireless is the new wired. That makes no sense. You know, in the fashion, people say pink, it's the new blue. Wireless security is so incredibly important if, along with a server, you're going to roll out, a network. So what are some advantages of having a wireless network? What's a good thing? If you have wireless, what's a good thing about wireless? Mobility, right. You can walk around with a laptop or a pocket PC. What else?
Cabling's cheap. Cabling
of wireless is very cheap, exactly. I think it's down to $0 these days. What else? So those are probably the two big ones. Mobility. You don't have to hire somebody to run wires across your entire office place if you need to get a new computer set up. But there's a downside as well, and that is the security issue. So I wanted to just take a minute or two to discuss some wireless security. And there are different methods people have employed over the years as wireless has become more prevalent. Now, some of the things people will do is they'll do the second one down. It's called Wired Equivalent Privacy, or WEP. And that's where you type either a 10 or 26 character hexadecimal code, so that's numbers and letters up to F, as a password. Well, that works a little bit. It's a good way to prevent these passive browsers who just try to get free internet access. However, those are things that can be hacked. There's MAC filtering. And MAC filtering is when what you do is you tell your wireless router, only allow these particular computers to have access with this particular address. Guess what happens? MAC address can be spoofed. They can be mimicked. So that's what these hackers do. The only one I really recommend, which is up there right now, is the one on top. That's called the Wi-Fi Protected Access, or WPA. That is the most secure wireless protocol available today. Now, some of the older routers don't offer that, and oftentimes what I found out is you can go to the manufacturer's website, get what's called a firmware update, and have your wireless router offer that. But that's something I really recommend that you have if you're going to do wireless. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say you don't have a server, you just have a wireless router, you have Windows XP machines, but they've all got firewalls, are all locked down. Do you need to have security on your wireless network? Yes, why? Why would I want? What could happen to me if I don't? Or what would somebody try to do?
Packet sniffers.
Okay, packet sniffers, that's when they're trying to sniff what data you're sending back and forth. What else? One of the bigger issues right now is that people don't have to use their own internet to do illegal things. So if somebody wants, they could pull up to your building, park their car, and get on your wireless network if it wasn't secure, and visit illegal websites or do illegal activity. And then, if anything gets traced, they find IP addresses and they link it to you. So regardless, it's such a great idea to have wireless security. And, the second one, WEP, is better than nothing, but WPA is the way to go. Now, from what I've heard, there are going to be a couple new versions of security out there. Chris, is that WPA 2 they're going to call it? Or something like that?
Yeah, it's the 802.11i.
802.11i, right.
And
so,
N as well.
So 802.11i, 802.11n. So these newer, faster wireless standards that are going to be coming out over the next year or so are going to have much better security as well. So how many people do have a wireless network at home or in their office? Right? I'd say, wow, over half of the group here today. So I think that's pretty appropriate. Now, so we're talking about backing up data, protecting yourself from yourself. We're talking about securing your wireless network, protecting you from external forces. But now I want to talk about protecting you from those employees in your company. We've mentioned these earlier, who like to play. How many people have somebody like that in their company? Somebody who just messes with things, they try to make things better, and, I'm sorry? Absolutely. How about some examples of people or what they've done? No names needed. Anybody try to optimize your website, take your website down? Yeah, there's some laughing over there. Or try to optimize file sharing, accidentally wipe out some critical files. Yeah. They're experts in their own mind, yes. And as long as they think that, they'll do good work. They think they're special. Let's talk about centralized administration using a tool called Group Policy in Small Business Server 2003. If you're going to be hiring a network professional or a Microsoft partner, talk to them about Group Policy and what they can do for you. This is what allows you as an administrator or a manager of a company to determine what your employees are allowed to do and what they aren't allowed to do on their individual computers. So even though it's their own desktop, you have full control. So we're going to jump into Small Business Server 2003 over here. We'll go full screen. And let's go back into our server management. All right, so let's go down into our advanced management right over here. And we're going to select our group policy management. And my goal with what I'm doing right here is not to teach you all of my click steps and how to get to these particular tools, but more importantly that these things are possible and they can be done by somebody who has gone through the proper training. So we'll go down to the actual server and we're going to manage these client computers. We'll edit the group policies over here, and we've got some templates as well. So here are some administrative templates. So first of all, let's go to the control panel, and this is very important here. Prohibit access to the control panel. Number one way your employees can mess things up on their machines is playing with that control panel. So in a matter of clicks, I can double click this, say enable, and then I can run this policy and block my employees from using the control panel. Now, I want to point out that you can't do this for every machine. This won't work for Windows 98, Windows 95, or Windows ME machines. You have to have, it tells you what your minimum is, and in this case it's at least Windows 2000 or Windows XP. As far as Windows XP go, what version of Windows XP does it have to be? It has to be professional, right? It can't be home. The reason they call it home is it's designed for home. It's not meant for a business network to use these group policy settings. So let's go ahead and hit OK. And so now the access to control panel is prohibited. Let's look at some other things here. We have remove run from start menu. So plan B, after you've gotten rid of the control panel, these guys go, hey, I could just click start and run and type in a bunch of command lines, right? Wrong. Double click, enable. And this is just a great power trip for some of us, but okay, removed. Again, if you don't want your employees listening to music, get rid of the My Music icon. Oh, that won't stop them. You know what you can do too is sometimes you can block out certain applications, and there's one particular application that you can block out. That's sol.exe. You know what that is? Solitaire, that's right. And by just blocking that out, you're going to have guaranteed 72% increase in productivity in your company, and 200% decrease in employee happiness. But now you can have some real fun there. So we blocked My Music. We removed Run off the Start menu. Again, there are over 600 different things we can do in here. You could even do things like the annoying balloon tips that tells you things from the clock area. You can turn those off. Oh, thank gosh. Wow. Get rid of those balloons right over here. You can get rid of the clock. I guess, no, that's good. So you don't want your employees to know what time it is, right? You just remove all the clocks from the wall, turn off the clock. You can have some do a lot of interesting stuff there. You can go into the system tool. You know when you pop in a CD and it automatically starts, you can turn autoplay off. But you can manage all of this from the administrative tools in group policy by having the server in place. Now, so we've managed those. We've turned those on. What we want to do is, normally I don't have to do this, but I want this to happen right away. So,
Is that function available in XP?
I'm sorry?
In XP Pro? Are you able to get to something like that where you can turn all those off?
The group policy, yes, you can do some of that in Windows XP Pro, but you would have to go to every single computer in your office. If you only have one, I understand, but otherwise, by group policy on the server would apply it to every computer. So I'm going to just run a command line real quick. This will allow me to make sure it starts quickly, make sure those changes come into play now. Okay to reboot, yeah, no. Okay to log off, yes. Actually, this is just the really nerdy way to restart a computer through the command line, so I don't have to click start, etc. All right, so let's log back in here. What is the maximum number of users for what?
Small business.
Great question. Small business server, maximum number of concurrent connections is 75. So that means either 75 people can connect in at the same time or 75 devices. So you have the option as an administrator and the owner of the company to determine that. Once you hit, though, that 50, 60, 70 limit, that's when you want to start talking to a partner about doing what Scott did in the case study, splitting off your small business server into multiple machines. So we're logged back in here, and let's go to the control panel, start, and it's gone. No control panel, where's the run? It's gone too. Is there a way around it? No. Another one you could also do is disable the command line as well. So now what I'm going to do, and so anyway, so there we go. The control panel is now blocked out, and we cannot wreak havoc. So all of this, again, is called the Group Policy Editor, and that is part of Windows Server 2003 or Windows Small Business Server 2003. Any questions on that? Yes?
Can you set it on all machines except your own, for instance?
Oh, of course. Great question. The question is, and it's funny you mentioned that, the question is, can you set it on all your machines except your personal machine? And the answer is yes. You set up group policies based on the groups the employees are part of. So for instance, you would be an administrator, therefore your group policies wouldn't apply to anybody in the administrative group. But it's funny you mentioned that last time I did my seminar, I had the group policies on, and I needed to go to the control panel to show the customer something. I couldn't. So we're going to go ahead and go back and disable those so I can get back to the rest of my demo here. So let's go edit the group policies. We'll go back to the control panel. We'll disable that. Great. Yeah, that's good enough for me for now. And same thing, Well, we got to log off and log back in. And hopefully that will work. So, yeah. Chris, was this the demo you wrote, or did Tim do this one?
This was the demo I wrote.
Chris and I take turns. We rewrite some of the demos, and sometimes, yeah, I'll tell you the story later. I was doing the demo. I had to do the demo on the little small screen because it required the control panel to make the screen larger again. Okay, I'm back. I'm in good shape. All right, so we looked at the central administration and group policy. And now I want to talk about some other things, part of having the small business server in the first place. So we got two more things that we want to cover. And the first thing, one of the beauties of having a server is the ability to centralize all your company's information in an internal website. And this particular website is called SharePoint. This is also referred to as an intranet, which is an internal company website. So this is a Contoso Realty, their real estate company, and every time every employee starts up their computer, opens the web browser, this is their homepage, the Contoso SharePoint site. So a couple things we have here in the SharePoint site is basic announcement section where we communicate with everybody in the company. So information about some of their new customers, information about what's going on with sales. We have documents stored on this intranet site. So these, in this case, we have the multiple listing service files. We have hyperlinks. We have brochures. There's a company calendar stored right here. So this is a great alternative to posting an announcement, editing the HTML, and then forgetting to change the announcement months down the line, or storing files in //server /2005 /publisher files /brochure 1. Then brochure 2, and brochure 3, final, and brochure 3, final, A, right? We've all done that before. So let's walk through SharePoint and see what some of the things we can do here. First of all, let's go ahead and add a new announcement. So if I'm a manager to the company, I wanted to share information with my employees, I can type in, let's see, interest rates may go up soon. Hurry up and sell those houses. Can't spell today, sorry. And what I can also do is set an expiration date of an announcement. So the announcement would automatically get rid of itself after a few days. So we'll set this up for the 7th and save and close. So just like that, that announcement is now on that home page. One of the beauties of SharePoint is the security. So I can determine as an administrator who is allowed to make those sort of changes and who isn't allowed to make those sort of changes. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Actually, why don't we talk about that now? What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new sub-site. So this is my company's main site, but what I'm going to do is create a sub-site for my employees to use in different ways. So I'm going to go ahead and manage these sites. So we're going to create a site for the Human Resources Department. We'll just call this HR. And we can use unique or the same permissions. So we can use unique permissions there. And this way I can make myself the administrator and add other users to this site. We'll use this team template. And sometimes you can speed these up by moving the mouse in circles, but as I thought that, this already started up. So this is what your SharePoint site looks like out of the box. Now if I want to add other things to the site, we can use the modified shared page button. We can customize this page by saying design this page, and we can take different parts that I have stored in my settings. So we can say add different parts, or we can move these around. I can take the links and move the links right there, or we can move our announcements to the right hand side. I don't think that looks very good over there. But dragging and dropping in order to modify this particular page. So if I want to get my document library, my shared document folder, we can just grab that and dump that right into this home page. So the beauty of this is it does not require any sort of web design or front page tools to customize my team or company's site. So this is where I do, what is it? You just move your mouse in counterclockwise circles. Is that right? Anybody? Is it figure eights? Am I getting this wrong? Okay. I'm just getting the blank stares. So we'll just give this a few seconds to load up there. And there it is. So we can now add other tools, for instance, shared documents. So we can take shared documents, drag it and drop it right there, and close this out. So now my shared document section is right there on that front page. So I can add a new document, browse, catalog cover, save and close. And now that catalog cover, instead of just being on my hard drive, is now centralized right on that server in my company's SharePoint site. Any questions about that so far? Yes?
You get more announcements and it'll fit in your little area up there where they scroll?
Oh, absolutely. You can, as an administrator, completely customize how many announcements you see, how much data is on there, definitely. Let's go ahead and actually add a couple events, though. So here's my company calendar, and we can do company meeting, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and we'll have this weekly, twice a week, Monday and Friday. Save and close. And now we're going to have all these, I just select set up a meeting workspace. Whoops. So this is a special meeting workspace that you can add for every event, for every meeting that you have. So essentially this will create a custom website for every time you have a particular meeting. We hit OK. So this is where we're going to store our notes, our agenda, our files for that meeting, instead of handing out a memo to everybody or an agenda to everybody in the conference room. There that is. OK, let's go back to the event site. So we now have these company meetings out there. We'll just add one more thing. Matt on vacation. We'll start on the 4th. And we'll add some June 23rd. There we go. All right, great. Save and close. Great. So we can go to the events section. We can view this as a list, or we can even view this in a calendar format. So that stretches out all those days. But lastly, we can link this directly to Microsoft Outlook. So here is a web-based SharePoint calendar that I can then, with one click, add that into my personal calendar, or side by side with my personal calendar in Microsoft Outlook. So now there's my HR events calendar and my personal calendar side by side. In just a couple of seconds it'll download the data directly from the server, but we can look at this by day, we can look at this by month. But for the first time, we have an easy place to centralize our company calendar, or a calendar for different things. I've talked to people in law firms who will create a calendar for every client. So there's a subweb for each client. So there's Jones or Smith case, and then there's a calendar for their court dates. And the attorneys can view the Jones and the Smith court dates side by side with their personal calendar. Or CPAs who have, again, different customers. They have different documents, different document workspaces for each one of their customers as well. So a lot of different ways to customize this and use it for whatever industry that you're actually in. Any more questions on SharePoint?
Is that part of the Small Business Server?
Yep, SharePoint is free, part of Small Business Server 2003. Yep, it's part of it. Now, yes?
And last thing, is it exclusive to Small Business Server, or is that usable in 2003 as well?
Good question. The question then is exclusive to Small Business Server 2003? No. If you do have Windows Server 2003, this is available for you. However, you do have to set it up, whereas with Small Business Server, it's really ready to go out of the box. Yes. Now, let's go a step further, and I am going to show you something that is exclusive only to Small Business Server 2003, and that's the ability to access your company's internal websites or intranet, even if you're not in the office. And this is something that Scott, you alluded to earlier, called RWW, or Remote Web Workplace. Remote Web Workplace is a website that you would access if you were not in your office. You can essentially go to https:// indicating it is a secure site, something like yourcompany.com/remote. And then you get prompted with this particular page to log in with your username and password. So here I am in a web browser. I'm an Internet Explorer. However, it doesn't matter really what web browser you use to access this. You could be at a customer site. You can be at an internet cafe in New York, and you can still get to this particular page. First thing I can do here is read my company email. So even if I don't have a laptop with Outlook with me, I have the ability to read my email right here in the web browser. This is called Outlook Web Access. So here's Outlook Web Access. Sometimes I'm just faster than the server there. And sure enough, this looks just like Microsoft Outlook 2003 with our email, with our calendar. We've got our personal contacts. We've got our tasks. We even have the pop-up with the reminders and the audio to go in as well. So all of that is part of what's called Outlook Web Access, something that you get, which is part of the Microsoft Exchange server that is included in Small Business Server 2003. Get rid of those reminders. Now let's go back to that main menu. So aside from Outlook Web Access, we also have what I was mentioning earlier, the company's internal website, or the ability to access any files or data you have on your SharePoint sites, even if you're not in the office. So this is something that customers used to go with a VPN for in the past. That used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. VPN is a virtual private network. So that required a special dialing tool on one machine, the server set up to receive incoming VPNs, special ports, etc. Now that is all built in by going through SharePoint through the remote web workplace. So again, looks just like my SharePoint site. I can do anything I need to do. I can open any files. Maybe I'm with a customer and I forgot an important form. I can say, can I borrow your computer? I can go to my remote web workplace and download this file wherever I am. Questions about that? Who really wants remote web workplace? Who wants to work from home more often? Yes. Imagine the ability, go ahead and you beat that traffic back to, maybe you work in Tacoma, but you live in Richland. I don't know. It's a long commute. You can leave the office at 2 o'clock. You get home by 6, and you can continue working because you have the remote web workplace. You can get into your desktop in the office. You can pull down your SharePoint site. You can view your email, your calendar, all through that, etc. Any more questions? Yes? And you can access your documents. Sure, 2 ways of doing that. One way, Scott mentioned the remote desktop. So you could get to your actual computer on your desk through this tool. So whatever's on your computer, you can get to. Or the other way is if your documents are in a SharePoint site, which is how most new companies are saving their files, you can just pull a document directly down from that SharePoint site, even edit it and save it right back to that server. Yes, great question. I heard another question over. Same exact question. Okay, great. So yeah, and that's one of the beauties of having this into place where it doesn't require an advanced security infrastructure. Okay. Now, another just beautiful part of remote web workplace, of having the Exchange server and the Small Business server on the back end is the ability to use a pocket PC phone or a smartphone, any Windows device, to access your data on the server. So for instance, this is, and we're going to talk about this when I come back from the break, this is the HP iPAQ 6315. This allows me over the cellular network, because it is a pocket PC phone, to download my email, do my calendaring, etc. So that's what I'm going to show you when we get back. So, a couple more slides. And really just want to kind of wrap up what Small Business Server 2003 actually is. 2 versions, like I mentioned before. There's a standard edition, starts at $599 for just the software. Now granted, for $600, you're not going to have a full deployed server. You're going to have a partner help you out. You're going to need some hardware. But the basics include the operating system, that's Windows Server 2003. That's what enables you to do things like the group policy editor. Exchange server, that's what allows you to have your own company.com, have your email on your server, do shared calendaring, and SharePoint, which we just saw. And the premium edition adds ISO Server 2000, SQL Server, which is your database program, and a copy of Front Page for editing websites. Also, Small Business Server 2003 comes with a copy of Outlook for every license that it has. So out of the box, there are 5 licenses. That means you get 5 copies of Outlook 2003 with that. If you buy 5 more licenses, you get 5 more copies of Outlook 2003. One of the beauties of our partnership with HP is that they have these great servers with Small Business Server 2003 pre-installed and ready to go. As a matter of fact, one of their servers starts out with Small Business Server pre-installed for $999. Now, I'm going to be honest, you're not going to get a rocket ship for $999 with unlimited storage. It is an entry-level server, but an entry-level server for a person with or a company with 2, 3, or 4 people is just fine. That's really all you need. But what is nice is on their website you can customize these servers for really whatever you need. And then once you get the server, you hire the partner to come in there and set it up for you. So you're saving a couple dollars there, and you're saving them some time. These are some of our resources related to what we covered today. Again, they're all online. They're all on my website. They're also on Microsoft.com/smallbusiness. I do not expect anybody to write these links down, but we're going to be giving them to you on a DVD. They're on Microsoft.com, again, /smallbusiness for you to actually access. And these are some of our webcasts that we do. Again, they're free. They're either pre-recorded or live. If you go to the live event, you can participate and ask questions real time. All right, well, we did talk about SharePoint and remote access. This is what I wanted to get to, though. If you're in a situation where a server is just not for you, maybe you work for yourself, but you work with independent contractors across the country, you can have a SharePoint site that is hosted at Microsoft instead of putting it on your particular server. So this is what I was referring to earlier with the Windows Genuine Advantage, the SharePoint site. So in this particular promotion, it's $30 with a 200 megabyte storage and up to 20 users. Again, I did put a link to that on my website. And this is Raphael, the coffee delivery guy. Hi. Thank you, Raphael. Did you get one for everybody else, like I told you?
No, you didn't.
I said 32 mochas, all with 3 shots of espresso.
I thought you said 32 packets of equal.
32 packets of equal in my... Oh, no. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So... Sorry, back to the show. These interruptions, I tell you. So anyway, really recommend that if you're interested in seeing SharePoint in person, my website is running SharePoint, so you can see how I set it up. It's kind of a quasi-weblog. Once in a while, I'll post something, what's going on the road. In my announcement section, I put some files to download in my document library, and of course, I use the links religiously. Okay, well now on to Windows Mobile like I promised before. I apologize a little earlier. I was looking for the wireless router. I thought one of you walked away with it, but apparently just never made the shipment. So we're doing this demo wired, but that's not such a bad thing. So by the way, little housekeeping before we continue on is your yellow evaluation forms and HP cards. Make sure you start filling those out. We'll collect them right at the end of the day. On the evaluation form, a 9 is like an A, an 8 is a B, 7 is a C, etc. We'll collect them. We'll use those for the drawings for Map Point, the book, and the HP Business Inkjet 1200D. Well, this is the one HP thing that we're not giving away. This is mine. Don't any of you try to take it. This is my toy. This is the HP iPac 6315. This is a Windows Pocket PC phone from T-Mobile. So what makes this device unique from all other phones and PDAs? Well, it is a phone. It is a PDA. But as you can see up there, it's got 2 other ways to connect. One is Wi-Fi. I just turned my phone off. One is through Wi-Fi, so we were talking about wireless networks. You could use this in the office or at home or at a hotspot like at Starbucks or Barnes & Noble, Borders Books to go on the internet. Another is Bluetooth. Anyone here use Bluetooth technology? Okay, is headset, I'm guessing? Or at home? Synchronize your PDA, Bluetooth. Bluetooth, unlike Wi-Fi, is a short-range wireless that can go up to around 30 or so feet, anywhere between 10 and 30 feet. I'm sure you've seen some people at the airport who look like they're talking to themselves. That's actually using a Bluetooth headset that you could get to use with the iPac because it has Bluetooth. You can also synchronize data with your computer through the Bluetooth, so you don't have to have it in a cradle. But if you're... can you use it to process credit cards? I guess if you needed to do that, you could. I do know that there are some point-of-sale systems that have wireless devices that add in. So I guess that is something you could use as well. What I do is I use this phone to get on the internet, to browse the web. Whether I'm just looking at ESPN for sports scores or looking up financial stock quotes, I can do that through Pocket Internet Explorer as well. Well, let's walk through some of the things we have here on this Pocket PC phone. Now, really what makes this incredible is the ability to synchronize with my Exchange server. So if I have Small Business Server 2003 in the office, over the internet, over the airwaves, I don't need a Wi-Fi connection. I can use the cellular network. I can synchronize my email, my calendar, and my contacts right over the air. So it'll go on the internet through what's called a GPRS connection. And it will connect down to my server in the office and bring that data down. So I've got some, I could go get my calendar, my contacts. I've got Bob, or I've got Kim Abercrombie right here. If I were to make a change and synchronize back up to my server, then that would be reflected when I log into my computer a little bit later. So I've got my calendar in here as well. I can even view and read my email. So here's an email from John, asking me if I have a slide. So I'm able to read my email from anywhere, including a movie theater, including an airport, really anywhere I am, except in the car, because that would be unsafe unless I am pulled over safely on the right-hand side. Yeah, I've seen that now. People driving and their phones, it's terrible. Bad enough when they're eating, doing makeup, or shaving, right? Now there's another device. Other great things we can do with this. So again, this is a 200 megahertz processor device, so it can do a lot. It has the ability to run Excel spreadsheets. This comes with Microsoft Pocket Excel. So if you have some spreadsheets you need to go over and you don't have time to view something on a computer, you can open up something. Here is, I have a list of all of our seminars we're doing across the country. So of course, you do have to scroll. You do have a small screen, but here's my date, the theater, the address, etc. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. So I could find out that today we're at Tacoma. Oh, no, that was in December. Anyway, I didn't get this too updated. But anyway, we can get an Excel spreadsheet. We can pull up Microsoft Word documents. There's no special conversion required. This will open a regular Microsoft Word document right on here. Question? Yes?
Yes, I see you have the MSN Messenger.
Yes.
And would that be able to correlate with the Live 2000 communication?
Excellent question, and let's kind of break that up. So on here is MSN Messenger. So anybody who I know that has MSN Messenger, I could communicate with real time. I can do a chat. Some of the other messaging services like Yahoo and AOL have one as well. There's another server product that just came out. It's called Microsoft Live Communication Server 2005. That is also compatible with MSN Messenger. Therefore, the answer is yes. If I have this messaging server at my office, I could still communicate back with the guys in the office from the road. So this is instead of those annoying Nextels that go beep, beep, hey, got a question for you. You can actually send them an instant message without annoying everyone in your vicinity. So this also supports add-on programs. For instance, a program called Voice Command, which retails for around $40 to $50, that allows you to talk to your device. So for instance, what is my battery life?
The battery level is 33%.
See that? What is my signal strength?
The signal strength is 100%.
This is a good place to make a phone call if you have T-Mobile, just so you know. How about this? So you don't have the time to look up someone. So maybe if you are in the car, you can do this. Show Kim Abercrombie. Actually recognize the voice of your contacts. You don't have to pre-program your voice. Or even take this a step further. Instead of just looking her up, call Kim Abercrombie at work.
Call Kim Abercrombie at work?
Yes. Now, since that's a fake number, I'll hang up my phone now. But voice command for almost every application, including the most important Pocket PC application out there, Start Solitaire. And there you go.
Can you move the cards with voice?
I'm sorry?
Can you move the cards with voice?
Can you move the cards with voice? No. Solitaire while you're driving, right. So these are the basics. This is the... Again, so this is a Pocket PC phone. Now, this is not the only Windows mobile device out there. This is the one I particularly use, but I've got another one down here. This is a Motorola. So every cell phone company has some sort of Microsoft device. The core value of these Microsoft devices are the ability to synchronize your email, your calendar, your contacts, and of course, basic familiarity. So this is a phone device. This is called a smartphone. This is a phone that happens to have PDA function, where this is a PDA that happens to have phone function. Chris, you have the AudioVox, right? So yours we call the candy bar format. This is a flip. Rory has a different candy bar format. So his is much smaller. This is the Pocket PC phone. All different sorts of devices for different shapes for whatever carrier you happen to be with. Yes?
So you just brought up map. It goes with my question. Does that have GPS?
And this has GPS capabilities. It depends what software you get. So this is a program called Pocket Streets, and I downloaded a map from MapPoint, or Streets and Trips, right onto here. And so what map do I have over here? We have San Francisco Bay Area, we have Los Angeles, the OC. I did a seminar. They don't like it when you call them that now, apparently. But so yeah, different areas. So you can buy GPS software. You have to get a GPS add-on for this, but you can do a Bluetooth add-on. So it doesn't need a clip onto your device. It can be wireless. Where do I store my maps and all my data? I have a memory card right over here. Now, the light's on me, so you can see me. This is what's called an SD card. This is 1 gigabyte. And it is the size of a postage stamp, and it retails for about $55 to $60 US. So that is incredible. I could fit maybe 5-6 hours of music on here that I could listen to on my device. It has a headphone jack. I can put hundreds or tens of thousands of pictures. I can put maps galore. I can put Word documents, etc. And new laptops have an SD card reader right on the side, so I could copy it over. Or for under $20, you can buy an SD card reader for USB for a desktop computer. Cool stuff, huh? Anybody else want one? Okay, cool. Let's take care of it. Let's get you one. So, how do we do that? I'm going to give you a discount. We have an agreement. Now, by the way, this phone retails for $499. Now, what's interesting is that this $50 discount will get you the device for $450. If you go to an electronics store and you look for a Pocket PC that's not a phone, those are still $450. So you're getting about $250 subsidized by the cell phone carrier if this is the particular device you want. So you can go to that website or through my website as well to get that discount. And write this code down, though. You do have to write this down. 70IPQ MSFT 704. We try to keep it really easy for you so you can remember it when you leave. 70IPQ MSFT 704. And if you forget it, email me, mattberg@microsoft.com, and I will tell you. But yeah, you order that over the phone and you can get that deal. Forgot to show you that the phone also has a camera on the back, but just take my word for it. I could take a picture of the darkness, and you would then see that. Okay. Any more questions on the iPad, the Pocket PC phone? Anybody have one? A Windows device? So we have you have a question. The battery life really depends on what you use it for. So when I use this thing straight as a telephone, I have it automatically download my email every 2 hours. I've made it on a business trip where I left the house at 5:30 and home by 7:30, and I was running on its last leg, but I went all day where I was on the phone all day long. I've also taken a flight from LA to Washington, D.C., where I turned off the screen and listened to music for 5 hours straight. Not a problem. I've tried watching a video for a while, and I've made it through almost an hour of a video, and then I killed the battery. So it depends on what you're doing. Yeah, Chris, I mean, you've played around with one of those for a while. I'm sure you can go a couple of days or one day, depending on how heavy you use it, right? Yeah. Just depends what you're doing. As a regular phone, you're totally fine. I recommend all devices. I charge them every night if I can, but yeah.
Now, does that lose some of your stuff like a normal PDA does?
Does it lose stuff like a normal? I didn't know normal is losing your stuff. What do you mean by that?
Well, if your battery dies on a PDA.
Depends what brand, of course. But so if your battery dies, let me just tell you that this has your data in what's called RAM. So it does require some electricity to keep your data in it. This has a backup battery. I've let this sit for 2 weeks, and based on the backup battery, I kept it going. However, what I often do is I use the backup utility that comes with the device. So you can back everything up, and even if the thing wipes itself out after not using it, you can hit restore, bring your data right back. Yes. Question over here. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I missed the beginning of it. I'm just wondering about the BlackBerry. What's the difference between the BlackBerry and this?
The question was, what's the difference between this and the BlackBerry, other than the BlackBerry being evil? So, well, some of the biggest difference is, well, first of all, that little keyboard that everybody loves about the BlackBerry, well, this comes with a snap-on keyboard. So you can remove the keyboard on this. You can't remove it on those BlackBerries. One of the bigger differences is with your operating system is going to be a Windows. You're going to have the more rich OS with Pocket Word, Pocket Excel. BlackBerry is strictly a messaging device. Now, as far as email goes, too, the difference between this is if you want to synchronize with a server, you have to have special server software added on. Scott, I'm sure you've seen that can get kind of pricey, I mean, thousands of dollars, right? Add it to your Exchange server, where in this case, Exchange server is already ready to talk to your Pocket PC phone. It's already ready. It already has the what's called the mobile Exchange server part built in. So yeah, so those are some of the differences. But this, oh yeah, this is native, ready to go with Exchange server, 2003. Yes.
With the mobile Exchange server, with something like that, would you be able to use that with through OWA too?
Exchange server, mobile Exchange server. Oh, yes, mobile Outlook Web Access. So even if you're not using a Microsoft device, if you have Exchange server, you can go to what's called OMA, Outlook Mobile Access, through a web browser that is compatible and get your email through a web browser. A lot more cumbersome, but it is possible. Yeah. A lot of mobile questions. I love it. Mobile devices are my favorite thing to talk about. I can really talk about those for 4 hours, but instead of you falling asleep, I would actually keep you awake. We'd have some fun stuff, but that's a whole nother day. As a matter of fact, my buddy John Stroini has done a couple of webcasts on Windows mobile devices. So again, I'm not going to give out those URLs anymore, but go online, check out those websites, check out one of the pre-recorded Windows mobile webcasts.